Am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my friend's Epi Pen? I'm using a throwaway account because my friends have read it and I don't want them finding this. I have a housemate, Jillian, 26 female, who is severely allergic to peanuts. There are 5 of us who rent a house together, and we all agreed to put a label in our food containers to help keep Jillian safe and avoid contamination. I have a mini fridge in my room where I store my drinks so that I don't have to go to the kitchen if I want a drink in the middle of the night. Well, last Friday, my Filipino girlfriend gave me an authentic Filipino dish for lunch at work. It's called care. It's an oxtail stew with a rich peanut sauce. It's in a glass container, so I saved some so I could have it for dinner. When I got home, I put it in my mini fridge, but I forgot to eat it that night because we ordered pizza for dinner. Saturday, I went out with my girlfriend and got home around 9 p.m. When I arrived, Jillian's girlfriend, Trish, confronted me saying I almost killed Jillian. I didn't know what she was talking about. She went on saying how irresponsible of me to not label the food in my mini fridge in my room. I asked one of our housemates what the F happened, and he said Jillian had an allergic reaction to my stew because I didn't put a label on the container in my room. I told them it's inside my personal mini fridge, and how dare they enter my room without my permission. Trish said they were looking for beer when they saw my stew. She and another housemate ate it, and Jillian only tasted it, and she had anaphylactic shock where they had to use her Epi Pen to stop the swelling. Trish then demanded that I needed to pay for an Epi Pen. I told them that that is not going to happen. If anything, they should apologize to me for trespassing and stealing my food. They called me an asshole. She and 3 housemates said I nearly caused Jillian her life, and the least I could do is apologize and pay for the Epi Pen. So, am I the asshole? Update. Jillian was taken to the hospital. No, I never gave anyone permission to enter my room. I visited Jillian in the hospital today, and she apologized to me for what happened. She says it was an accident. She said she didn't eat my car, but took some rice. She didn't realize that some sauce got onto the rice bowl. I will be charging them for the stolen beer and food. I'm definitely going to be buying a lock after this incident. But do you think I was the asshole for refusing to accommodate to my infertile neighbor? Sorry for the formatting and my writing. English is not my first language. My husband, 29 male, and I, 28 female, have been living here for 5 years, ever since we were married. Our previous neighbors were an adorable couple in their 60s to 70s. We had a fairly good relationship, and we were really sad when they left. This year, I gave birth to my son. He's now 6 months old. When my new neighbors, let's call them Paul and Anna, moved in, I was 2 months pregnant. We weren't friends, but we would say hi to each other here and there. I sunbathe every day. It's something I have been doing since childhood. I was a very anemic kid, and my mom made me do it to help with my anemia. I don't even know if it works, but it is a habit that helps me start my day. This was not a problem until my pregnancy became apparent. The left side of the yard has 2 kinds of fences. One low, that used to have a hedge on the neighbor's side that they cut off, and one taller in the rest of the backyard. It's hard to see it from the ground, but they still can see our entire yard and part of our main floor from their second floor. When I was 5 months pregnant, Paul told my husband that my sunbathing was making them uncomfortable. I sunbathe in shorts and tank tops, nothing out of the ordinary. I just ignored them and kept my routine. The following month, he did it again, until my 8th month. I was back from a walk with my husband, and Anna was in the front of the house. Once she saw me, she stormed inside and slammed the door. The following day, Paul came to our house and told us that they are having fertility problems and seeing me pregnant was making her extremely uncomfortable and that I was an insensitive bitch. Currently, I am working from home and the baby is close to me in a playpen in the living room, and we have another in the backyard on the terrace, so I can have him close when gardening or just playing with him. Well, I made his wife uncomfortable again yesterday. I was in my living room playing with my baby when he knocked and he asked me to move from the living room because his wife could see me from their balcony. I told him to tell her to look in the other direction and to leave me alone. Today, my husband and I were grilling some meat in the backyard. The baby was hungry, so I started to breastfeed. When I looked at their house, Anna was on the balcony before she went in, and a few minutes later, at our door again. I gave my son to my husband, and I answered the door. Paul went off on me for breastfeeding up in public. Again, this is inside my fenced yard, and being inconsiderate. When he finished, I told him to leave us alone, don't knock on my door ever again, and if his wife is so upset over seeing a baby, she needs therapy and not him harassing my family, and I will do everything I want in my own home. At the time, I felt justified, but I was venting with my mom and she told me I was in the wrong. And I couldn't understand because I never suffered from infertility and I think I might need to apologize. So, am I the asshole? Edit. I sat down with my husband to talk about the precautions. I was so annoyed that I wasn't thinking about the risks. We will be installing cameras and a taller fence. Unfortunately, the vision from the balcony will stay the same because the city won't let us build taller than 4 meters. But this will help anyways. I called my dad to get some help with the fence, and he ended up talking to my mom. She called me and apologized. She suffered from infertility and postpartum depression, and when I spoke to her, she said that she felt Anna's pain, but she also remembered some crazy things she did at the period and gave me some extra precautions to take. We decided to contact a lawyer about a restraining order, and he told us that we need to get some videos because until now, all we have is our word against our neighbor's word. So if he shows up again, I need to record it and then call the cops. And if he came to my house 5 times, to call the cops each time. But it will still be hard to get him on video. So I would love to hear everyone's feedback on this. Am I the asshole for refusing to accommodate my infertile neighbors? Asshole for being harsh on my mom and refusing to get my last name hyphenated? Okay, I have been holding off a while posting this because I know a lot of my family uses Reddit and it'll be easy for them to know it's me, but I just don't care anymore. I, 19 female, am the product of an affair. I have 4 siblings between 25 and 30, and I haven't talked to any of them since I was like 10. I lived with my mom till I was 5, then went to quote unquote visit my aunt and uncle for weeks at a time. I'd stay with them for 2 to 4 weeks, then go back home for a weekend, and then back with my aunt and uncle for the same time. That soon became my new normal. The days I was home, my mom and her husband would argue, and it was obviously about me. He couldn't stand to be in the same room as me, look at me, just acknowledge me at all. And she acted like it was okay. I can't blame him for not liking me, but it was still fucked up on a level. Then, maybe a year and a half later, I stopped going home and my aunt and uncle became my guardians. My belongings were shipped to me and that was about it. My mom visited me on holidays, but that was all I have ever seen or heard of her. Then, around 9 years old, she stopped contacting me altogether. As I got older, I no longer see my mom as a mother, and I see my aunt and uncle as my parents instead. I'll skip all the boring details, but fast forward before my high school graduation back in June. They sent out emails to us asking if we'd like to make any changes to our personal info before everything was put in our yearbooks, and I took that chance to change my last name to the same as my aunt and uncle. Because we didn't get a regular graduation and our diplomas were mailed to us, we didn't receive them until 2 months after we graduated. I got mine 3 weeks ago. I posted it on social media and showed my aunt and uncle things and got super emotional, but they loved it. Now, I don't have any of my siblings or mom on social media, so I'm assuming a distant family member must have told her about it because she got in contact with me that same day on Messenger and asked why people were asking her about my name. When I told her I changed my last name on my diploma, she got furious that I didn't check with her to see if it was okay. This is where I feel I might be the a-hole. I told her she was barely a mother to me and she cared more about being with her husband than raising her daughter. I said I was legally going to change my last name anyways, and I don't need nor want her permission. She said I should at least get my name hyphenated, and I told her I didn't want any part of her last name as it meant nothing to me. So, am I the asshole? Quick little update. So, I just lurked her, my birth giver's Facebook page a little, and she's been posting updates about me for years. She even posted some pictures of me that I know she took from my Instagram page. My Instagram page is private, so I'm not sure how she's gotten a hold of any of this. I'm going to make a new Instagram, but as for the current one, I'm just going to make it public and it's going to be blessed with all of the replies I got from here, and whoever else can look at all of your guys' lovely comments. So I decided to ask my aunt and uncle if they would adopt me, and they said they're going to do it. But I still want to know, do you think I was the asshole for being harsh on my mom and refusing to get my last name hyphenated? Am I the asshole for telling my husband that since he did not help funding my mother's health care, I will do with the inheritance what I want? I, 29 female, am a stay-at-home mom. I take care of the home and my son, who's 4 months old, while my husband, Sam, 31 male, works. I haven't had a job in 4 years as Sam wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom by the time our son was born. I accepted since Sam has an absurdly good salary and mine was not that great. My mom fell ill a year and a half ago. Her diabetes became quite complicated and she needed some medical care. We don't live in the US, so the expenses were relatively small. I asked Sam to please give me half of the total medical bill since my brother, 25 male, was going to pay the other half. Sam refused to pay a penny from the bill, and since I have no income, my brother had to just pay it all. Sadly, Mom passed away a month ago. My brother and I just got the whole estate in order. Each of us is going to get a somewhat considerable figure since my mother had multiple properties, which she did not sell as they are in poor condition. This morning, my husband told me he wants me to sell my part of the inheritance so we can make some non-vital house repairs and possibly go on a vacation. I laughed at him, more out of anger than anything else, and told him that he had no right to suggest how to make use of the inheritance that my mother left when he refused to even pay half of her medical bills. He called me an asshole and went to work. Later, I got a call from his sister who was extremely angry. She called me irrational and told me that since I was living off the money Sam earns, I have no right to demand money from him, and that the inheritance gives me the opportunity to return some of the money he has spent on me. The call really got me thinking, and now I wonder if I'm really behaving like an asshole. So, am I the asshole for telling my husband that since he did not help funding my mother's health care, I will do with the inheritance what I want?